They're going after the wrong thing, as we have gone after the wrong thing after we got equal opportunity in this country and laws passed to protect our citizenship and our rights of citizenship. We started celebrating, having a good time, playing, laughing, dancing, getting high, and we forgot what God has done for us over all these many generations. God has permitted us to be used and abused more than any other soul of a human being. God has permitted that soul of the African people, African American people, or the African people, to be used and abused. But the God that permits that is obligated to do justice by everything. So in the measure that He has allowed us to be deprived, He must award us, and at least that measure or greater. So when we look at the sad history, as those sad turns of events in our life, beginning with the first one, putting us upon slave ships and bringing us here to be slaves as property of others, and following that at the terrible events in our life, when we look at those events and see the damage to our psyche, the damage to our life as human beings, and the threat to our future as human beings, when we see that and realize that we have overcome that, we're still here, we're still human, and we're still performing very excellent way, men and women, that says to us that God has not yet finished rewarding us. God is not through with us. Freedom and equal opportunity here, that's just the necessary situation or the necessary condition for us to begin doing what God has formed us for. And I say formed us. We are no more Africans like the Africans of the continent of the motherland of Africa. We are new people. We have a new mind. We have a new spirit. We have new sensitivities as a people. We have a brand new ethos as a race. So we are different. We are different. We are different in the abstract picture, and we are different in the physical picture. We are not abstractly the same. That is, our mentality is different, spirit different, sensitivity is different, aspirations different, humor different. We are not Africans anymore of the motherland. We are Africans of this land. New Africans. New Africans.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Assalamu alaikum. That is, peace be unto you, or the peace be unto you. And welcome to New Africa Talks, coming to you live from Harlem, New York. This is an internet program dedicated to the promoting the concept of New Africa, Imam Mohammed's vision and direction for Muslim African American community life. My name is Hakeem Sabri, and I'll be your host for this afternoon. This program has as its focus the students of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And what we mean by the students of Imam W.D. Muhammad are those who identify as Imam Muhammad's as their leader and their teacher. I have to make this specifically clear so that we understand the people that we're bringing on the program, the dialogue that we're having, the language that you're going to be hearing is geared toward those that are already familiar and follow the leadership of Imam Muhammad. So if it's a little bit different or unique to you, that's the reason why. A student of Imam W.D. Muhammad, this is his definition. One of them, he says, a student is an intellect that is willing to be taught. That's the definition of a student, period. He also says, so we have, this is him, Imam Muhammad, explaining the definition of student, his students. He says, so we have many of you who are my students. You write down my talks. You try to get all you can get from me, and you take it and put it in your collections, and you make it first among the reading materials. I know you do. You put nothing above it but Allah and His Messenger. I know that, and that is what you have to do, and that is what I would have you to do. I know you treasure it. You take it in and put it with your best collections. You don't lose the harvest. Praise be to Allah. And that was from a Ramadan session, 2004, of Imam W.D. Muhammad. So our topic, excuse me, our topic today is really a continuation of a topic that we had at the end of June. We have our monthly talks at the end of every month. And last month we had scheduled Sister Coral Kadar, which we heard, given the excellent presentation. We had her scheduled with, for those of you that know Imam Sulaimaan Hamid. He wasn't able to make it. He was traveling out of town. But alhamdulillah, we worked to work something out, so we have him back. And we know this is kind of special because it's not at the end of the month. It's a part 2 that we had to have him talk on, because he missed his time. We wanted to still hear from him. So this is like a special that we have in the middle of the month, but we still have a program at the end of the month, and we'll, inshallah, God willing, remember if I remember to give you the title of that at the end of the program. So again, the title is still "Up, You Mighty People: Reconstructing the African American Family After Slavery, Black Nationalism or Al-Islam." Again, part 2. We want to also quickly give you an idea or an understanding of what we mean by when we say New Africa, because that's a term people are starting to hear now. People have heard it before now, but we want to give specifically the definition of what we're seeing or focusing on New Africa as. And it has, New Africa is, this again from Imam W.D. Muhammad, New Africa is a vision we want to implement, to visualize, a logic we want to apply, a life we want to live. He also said, we see New Africa as a chance to establish Al-Islam with our own hands, meaning Muslim African-American hands. And Muhammad also says, New Africa is a vision and an ideology designed to have the African-American people, that's our people, appreciate the interest in a stronger cultural life built upon the best traditions of our ancestors and leaders in African-American history. Part of its realization is the development of business centers designed, owned, and operated by African Americans for the purpose of strengthening the sense of cultural life and identity. The expression New Africa as a name for these centers would serve the intent for a richer appreciation and recognition for Africa. Imam Mohammed, Akhliyah Magazine, 1966. And that's very important. We keep the name Africa because that's the name of the continent. We're keeping the name Africa in the minds of our people because it's the name of the continent that we know. We know, people know, a lot of our scholars and learned, and even the laymen, some of us, we know Africa is not the real name of the place. They never really named it. There was never a collective, except some people said it was Al-Kibulan, but we're not sure. So, but until Africa itself changes the name and we become more familiar and connected with them, we're keeping the name Africa. We're just letting them know we're the new Africans. We're the new Africans. We're not Africans of the old. We're not Africans of the motherland. We're Africans, as Imam Muhammad said before the program started, Africans of this land, America. So we're new Africans. So without any further ado, I'm going to read the brief bio of our brother, Imam Sulaimaan Hamid. He is the presenter today. Imam Sulaimaan Hamid serves as the resident Imam of the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam, one of the largest Islamic centers in the Southeast, affiliation with the community of his late leader and teacher, Imam W.D. Muhammad. As a student of religious studies, he has taught Arabic and Islamic sciences at the Mohammed schools and Islamic theology and Islamic law for the Faith Institute of the Atlanta Masjid. Educated primarily in private Islamic schools in the U.S., Hamid also received specialized training in Damascus, Syria at the Abu Nur University and completed courses in jurisprudence, Arabic, prophetic traditions, and theology. His students, his studies and teaching has afforded him travel opportunities to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and Senegal. He also served as the Imam of Masjid Fresno in California and assisted to Masjid al-Wadathin of Oakland, California, where Imam Fahim Shuaib is a resident Imam. Fluent in Arabic, he is currently the co-founder and operator of Professional Hajj and Umrah Guides, LLC, otherwise known as Hajj Pros, a religious-based travel agency specializing in the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and study abroad opportunities. Sulaimaan is passionate about the improvement of Islamic institutions of education. He is noted as a respected leader in the Muslim American community, often called upon to assist with programs establishing a commitment to religion for future generations. His publications include Ramadan, the Month of Purification and Self-Restraint. He is currently pursuing a master's in divinity and Claremont and the Claremont School of Theology, and resides in Atlanta, GA, with his wife Shahida Sharif and his children. So, without further ado, we're going to bring on Brother Imam Sulaimaan Hamid. The Imam, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir.
Alhamdulillah. Good to have you here. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Alhamdulillah, the pleasure is mine.
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah. Yes, sir. So we're gonna basically, if anyone has any questions, they can, I guess, type them on the actual page, and I think Mujahideen, like we did last time, can print them or show them to us, or I can read them so we can see if anybody has any questions. We're gonna open the questions. But I just want everybody to know the program is usually scheduled from 2 to 4, but Imam Hamid has another engagement, so we might just have to cut it to 3:30, maybe even a little earlier. But but it won't be 4 o'clock. So we just let everybody know. It will be recorded, so you didn't miss anything. That's the blessing of technology. Yes. So one of the first questions, and I guess it can kind of lead into your brief history, is when I read, or I think I heard you, might have been a Jummah, and my family, and there are others, we are born into the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's time. Our history is like, because it's so unique and uncanny, and we're those of us that are proud of it, are still proud of it. We like to talk about it and mention it to people, and it's always a good icebreaker. Sometimes the people go, "Oh, your parents were so and so." So yes, they were on the Elijah Muhammad. So and so was on the Malcolm, blah blah blah. And like anyone else has their own kind of history. So we're proud to say those things, about our history. So when I found out that your parents were parents were members of the Black Panther Party, then they came to the Nation of Islam, and now they're with the Imam Muhammad. I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot. So that's kind of a very, very rich history. So if you could tell me a little bit about that, if like why your parents joined the Black Panther Party, and then why they left the Black Panther Party to go to the Nation of Islam. If you know a little bit about that before we start.
Absolutely. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. I want to first say thank you, Brother Hakeem, for this invitation. New Africa Intelligentsia. I remember when it was a concept, when New Africa Intelligentsia was to be a think tank for our community. And there was a beautiful website that me and Shahida would go look at to see what was the updates. You all had information about different historical figures in our history. So alhamdulillah, you all are continuing the great work, and the same thing with the New Africa Freedom Exchange, Brother Dean, Brother Mujahideen, Brother Bilal, Sister Marsha, the great works that you all are doing. I was going to tease. Mujahideen said I was waiting for my invitation. We all done had Imam Rashad on there 19 times. So I was waiting for my invitation, but alhamdulillah, it's finally here. But alhamdulillah, no. But yes, regarding that, I'm actually in my father's home as we speak, speaking of my parents. and the history of their journey to Al-Islam. My father was telling me day before yesterday, we were just speaking of his journey, and I was, he's actually sitting right over here, but he didn't know, but I was picking his brain a little bit to get me some ammo for this call, because I knew, Hakeem, you were probably going to ask that question. But he was telling me part of his journey, and again, he's sitting there, so I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable. But my parents, and particularly my father, has always been very culturally adept, I think the word is, or advanced, and always just instilled that in us. But he was telling me about his journey is that he was reading a book called The Lights of Egypt. What is it? Now he just told me, and I just forgot the name of the book, but it was a book about symbols and symbolism. And he said at the end of the book, the last symbol was a star and crescent. And it said that once you see this particular symbol, there'll be so many years of peace on earth like that. And by the way, my parents, we're from Oakland. So, the Panther part, it ain't, the people talking about the new Black Panther Party. I mean, Eldridge Cleaver has been in my home as guest of my parents. We have the picture. So my parents were there with the actual founders of the Black Panthers, and they were there in Laney College in Oakland. They were getting their masters at Golden Gate University, both of them. And I remember him telling me one time that they were revolutionaries, and that's what had them in the Panther Party, but they were also spiritual people. And as we know, the original Black Panther Party, it didn't have that element. It didn't have the element of spirituality. It had revolutionary, it had knowledge of self, and we know they were stealing from the nation anyway with their system on their paper and all of that. And because of that spirituality lacking in the Panther Party, I could still be a revolutionary, but I get some spirituality too in the nation, from what I recall is part of what moved them. Am I saying it right, Daddy? Again, he's sitting over there. It's what moves them to join the nation. But still, because I'm still, down with the man and up with the black man, and up, ye mighty people, you can accomplish what you will, right? Which was actually, some people will give that quote to Garvey, Marcus Messiah Garvey, before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tweaked it a little bit for us, but we still had that excellence. But alhamdulillah, that is the history of my parents' journey in being in Oakland, building and developing the upliftment of black folks there, but having seeing the light of Islam that came from the Nation of Islam. And yeah, I'm saying it like that because I'm proud of that history too, seeing the light of Islam that came from the Nation of Islam, and seeing the missing link, which we're going to get into with the Al-Islam part, which is the spirituality. I can't just stop with being proud of my, I can't just stop with my nationality and my ethnicity and all of that. I have to have that connection with God, have to have that connection with Allah, and how it was explained to me, that was missing. That element was missing, but the nation provided it, and we could still be revolutionary and build and develop our people. Alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful history, and I'm very proud of it that I have that foundation from both of my parents.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All praise due to excellent, yes, sir. And that's an excellent point. Like you said, the spirituality part, the connection with God. Like you said, you can go, but you can only go but so far as a group, any group. That you lose that connection. That's how we started. We're created with that connection. Once you lose it, alhamdulillah, allow it to come back through the nation, and then specifically with the Imam. Before I move on, just one more question. Because we know that this is the reality of the transition. If you know already, if you're not, we just go to the next question. Did your parents have, was the transition easy for your parents? Was there a struggle, or is there? That's the question. Was it easy for them, or was it kind of like a struggle to go from what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching to what the Imam was teaching with the environment, with the outside pressures and y'all aren't black anymore and all this stuff like that? Did they say the journey was easy, or was it a struggle? That's basically my question.
Absolutely. And so again, as it was explained to me, he mentioned this too the other day. My father was also a minister in San Jose, California. He was also the treasurer, I believe it was. And so he was just telling me, he has that bad. He didn't get the pen that they start giving out of actually being of those paper sellers that actually sold their quota. He was telling me he had what is it? Not boundary, but the Imam said, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that you get your set amount of blocks, and he did that, and he was so good at it that if any other brother went into his territory and knocked on the door, he'd say, "Hey man, what you doing? I get my papers from so and so," right? But part of showing how they were connected to the Imam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who told them that we're to build our own city, we're to build our own nation, right? So my father said that was part of the reason that he got his master's in I'm drawing the blank right now on not city planning, but part of the reason that he did that was in following the instructions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and following the man. But no, for my parents, it was easy. This was clear. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say? He said, "I'm not here to teach you religion. I'm here to clean you up. The one who come after me will teach you the religion." And it's clear as day that was Imam Muhammad Rahimahullah, right? And so, and we know part of the beauty of Oakland, the only place that the Imam was a resident Imam. My parents had that benefit also of transitioning from the nation and then having the supreme minister right there as the teacher, and them being true to Islam, right, and being true to the movement. That transition from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to Imam Muhammad Rahimahullah was an easy thing, and in the development of us, I'll just give you this one little interesting link just to show, and my father explained this to me too, to show their transition just from black nationalists to Muslims, right? So my oldest brother's name is Amun Ra. Well, if anybody knows anything about African history, that's my oldest brother. Then my oldest sister is Tamu Kenyatta. Then my other brother is Sanit Kumari, right? Then now we're doing a transition. Then you have Tahir. Then you have Ishmael. Then you have Yasmin. Then you have me, my whole name, and the police already know this, so it's all right for me to give it to them. My whole name on my birth certificate, which I got over there because I had to bring it to do something with my father. On my birth certificate, it says Sulaimaan Warathuddin Ibrahim Abdul Hamid. So they gave me the whole package, right? They gave me with the Imam in there, with the Warathuddin in there. That's on my live birth certificate. But to show their transition from black nationalists, Amun Ra is their oldest son, to Sulaimaan Warathuddin Ibrahim is the youngest son of this first batch. That was there, just showing that they were moving with that guidance that the Imam brought for our family. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed and grateful that Allah gave the Imam as our teacher, and this is our community. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, wow. Excellent. You don't know unless you ask. So now, okay, we're going to focus. That's still excellent. Always supposed to know your history. Excellent history to be proud of. Also, there was you growing up, because you were I guess you're 20 years younger than I am, I think. Your era was the quote unquote positive. I have to say it like that because that's what they labeled it as, hip hop era, where there was more positivity happening, we were more focused, there was more stuff happening to us that we had to be focused. It was a lot of tragedies, but we had to be more focused and not just talk or rap or whatever about trivial things. So you growing up, because I know you also said you also used to MC, but in that, even if you didn't, you were still in that era of where, you know, everybody tried whatever it was. But did you see, or what was your journey or struggle in that? And if you saw others too, with a push for upliftment of us as a people, but it was more so language of Islam, but more black nationalistic, new era. Was there like a struggle for you and your peers, or did you see like there was a struggle, general struggle for people at that time? And if there was, what was it? And which one get to be?
You said I used to MC.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna give a shout out to Presidential Movement since you had Sister Coral Kadar on last week to your other Harlem homies.
Yes, sir.
We was the West Coast group that were performing at the convention. Ishmael Kadar and it was the New York group. So you know, we used to always hang out. Shout out to Presidential Movement. Alhamdulillah. Yes, I wouldn't say it was a struggle. And again, alhamdulillah, I give it to my parents. So my father's a musician as well. He's a paralegal and businessman in trade, but he's also a musician. So music was a big part of our household. So and conscious music as well. And I think you know, the challenge was I went to Claire Muhammad all my life, right? So I couldn't wear a backpack and put twist in my head. I could chew on a licorice root. And my mother was the principal. So I was like, I had to be super conservative and couldn't get down with all of the stuff that everybody else. So that was my challenge, you know, even if I wanted to, I couldn't because, you know, I went to Claire Muhammad. But I think the challenge, if any challenge was, and I'm saying this now because I don't even think it really was a challenge then, was understanding that stuff comes from us. Those when they saying Allah and this and whatever, that's coming from our foundation, and having the ability as a youngster to be able to take ownership of it. That these people are borrowing from you, borrowing from your foundation, borrowing from your way of life, right? And so just you know, having that we did have that understanding, but I think I could have had it more. I could have had that understanding more of knowing how much Islam really influenced, particularly, you know, folks like y'all in Harlem and New York and hip hop, you know, really have that influence. But now, you know, looking back, we know. But I think that was, again, part of my challenge was I was I was a little conservative kid that had to button my top button and couldn't wear jeans to the Masjid, you know, so. I know you know about that, brother. You look at some of these kids come to the Masjid with today, like we could have never got away with that back in the day. But alhamdulillah, that's an excellent question.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I thought about that because I realized that was technically, you know, that version of black nationalism coming back into, and like now it's basically, well, I shouldn't say lost. You have a few people trying to bring it back, but most of it's lost to the in the quote unquote the rap world. It's kind of lost with sprinklings of people trying to do positive situations because, you know, the pressure of do for self and us coming into our own more is abundantly clear that it's that time again. What do you believe is like okay? I can jump to the family part. For Muslim African Americans or African Americans in general, what do you, because Sister Coral brought up a good point about the shift and changing economics and other things and what we used to think about and then what was put in our mind and why we started to change. What did you see after the advent of slavery? Our spirit and direction was as a family, as a group picture, and to where it is now, to where, like I said, you see a resurgence, but it's harder, way harder now because we have so many elements coming against us, like an open freedom. Like it says, freedom to do everything. Where back in the days you had freedom, but you kept your freedom focused. But like, what do you see like as our spirit actually in slavery, after slavery, and the transition to where we're at now? It's kind of a long question, but we got time.
Bismillah. No, I understand the question right on. And that's part of what I wanted to, look at in looking at the title of today's program. It is the reconstruction of the family, right? And if we're reconstructing something, that suggests that something was deconstructed. That suggests that there was some damage done, right? And what was damaged was the original family structure. That's what was actually damaged. Sister Coral, she spoke about it last week when we talked about the two parent home was like a big deal, right? And so part of the original family structure, the natural family structure that slavery destroyed, was having that two-parent home. And the original family consisted of what? Two parents, children, brothers, sisters, an actual family, right? And that's the micro family. I want us to also, as we're discussing this topic, look at the big family, right? Which is the community, which was also deconstructed, which was also destroyed with slavery. And so what I saw and what I see, in part of when you're reconstructing something like they're doing at that building in Miami that fell down, they got to figure out what was the cause of the damage. What caused the damage, right? And so what was the cause of the damage in slavery? It wasn't just because we were slaves or our ancestors were put in slaves, people who were put in bondage. They have I know the Willie Lynch letter, right? The making of a slave. Whether it's real or not, that's not the topic, because what's real is happening. We see what's happening, which was what? To pit one against the other. The young against the old, male against the female, light against the dark, uneducated against the educated. All of that is actually happening, right? And so what we have to do in our reconstruction is ensure that we are not perpetuating that poison that was put upon us in the making of the slave, right? And that we're not continuing forming the slave from that system that was put upon us from them devils, right? And so I think right now what we are facing as a people and as a generation is, because it's wild, Hakeem, how they flipped this generation's mind to even be opposed to the poison, right? We'll have people questioning, well, it ain't that bad, and is or is it ain't, or like that, and we'll be again perpetuating the system that's destroying us. And I also thought about the quote that you played in the beginning, how the Imam, Rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, he said that because we have suffered so much, that Allah obligates himself to assist us, right? I want to put a challenge to the students, because you defined a student, and part of what the Imam did for his students, he may not give you the whole, I'll say it like this. He gave you the directions for you to make the connections. So there's actually a Quranic connection behind that. There's actually a Quranic basis, as it was with all of the Imam's teachings, to that particular saying of Allah obligates himself. And I wonder, I put a challenge, I don't know if anybody's in the chat, we give you 25 Harlem points. If anybody knows what the Quranic basis is of that point that the Imam was making, give you 1 second to put it in there. But the basis of that is that Allah, he says, Kataballahu ala nafsihi rahma, that Allah has prescribed mercy on himself. Allah has obligated mercy on himself. And again, we have to make those connections. The Imam, he didn't have the time to give you all of the tajweed and all that stuff. And he said in many places, that's the obligation of your local imam, you know, whatever to give you. But we have to make those connections. But I see that's the basis of Allah. Allah obligated himself that mercy on us. And he said in that quote too, he's not finished giving us that mercy, right? And so, but part of it, and again, with your question, the challenge that we're facing, part of us getting that mercy is we also have to be extending that mercy to each other. We can't be oppressing each other. Like I said, we can't be implementing the Willie Lynch on ourselves. We'll disqualify ourselves from that mercy that Allah obligated himself on us. So part of, again, understanding the devil ain't done. The devil didn't just stop because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad died. The devil didn't stop destroying black people because Imam Muhammad passed, rahimahullah. The devil is in all of the devils and all of the forms, and I'm using that word broadly, and you could put whatever you want to put in there, whoever you want to put. Them devils ain't stopped, and they done got more sophisticated. Like we were just talking about the technology, right? They devilish scheme to continue to destroy us and to break us apart, right? And so what we are dealing with today and how we have to reconstruct is, again, identifying them devilish schemes of Satan. Remember that book the Imam wrote, right? And exposing the schemes of Satan and ensuring that we're not perpetuating them ourselves, reconnecting our family, reconnecting our communities, and then moving in that mercy that Allah has written upon himself so that we build our family structure back up, which is the foundation of community, the foundation of society. That's why, and I know I'm rambling now, but you know, I'm an imam, so I get a little ramble time. And it's beautiful that you all chose this topic of reconstructing the family. That's the whole thing of the devil's plan, is to destroy the family. And once I can do that, I can destroy the whole society. What did he say in that what is an ayah connected to a hadith that he said? What the ayah is, and they teach them the knowledge that will turn the husband against the wife. Right, talking about the magic of Solomon is how they define it, but that's bad definition. And then you have that other conversation that was between the big shaitan and his jinns, and the one came back and said, I have created information that will turn the husband against the wife, and he was the one that was celebrated the most, right? So if the family can be destroyed, then there are no strong people, there are no strong individuals that make up families, that make up community, and the whole thing is lost. And because we are God's chosen people, and I'm gonna go even way out on the limb with y'all on that one, right? As Africans, African Americans, I mean, because we have suffered so much, that's what I mean, chosen, that we have that mercy now. Allah focused on us now, and the devil knows that, which is why they put so much attention on destroying our family, destroying our men so they won't be men, right? Destroying our women so they won't be natural women, turning the child against the parent. Willie Lynch again, the devil. All of that is part of that system that Shaitan is working. I hope that was in tune with your question, brother.
It was. Yeah, yes, sir. You're right. Like you said, the basis of the basis of, like you said, the deconstruction is you have to focus somewhere. And if it's again the family, which starts off everything, you know, like I said, at the beginning in the Quran and the Bible, that's what the devilish mindset says, you know, saw as not worthy the human, the sensitivity of the human, the concern, the thinking, the rational. That's not to be responsible for the progression of the masses of humans, which doesn't make any sense. The humans are responsible for humans. So, but like you said, if I start at the beginning, then there can never be a connection. And like you said, and if you what do you call it? You make fearful those, even if you're not Muslim. If you say, well, I don't support, you know, LGBTQ or all that stuff, they make something's wrong with it. You know, it's like they can say they're against things about us, but we can't say, hey, wait, what about you? You know, and so if they start breaking it from that point, I'll never get together with a woman. She'll never get together with a man. So where's it going to end? You know, it'll end quicker. You know, you with a woman, a guy with a guy, go with a girl. That doesn't go anywhere. And they know that. Like I said, the people that really know, they're married. People don't know that they're married.
Right.
I'll tell you that. You know, my sister.
To the opposite gender at that.
Exactly.
Right.
My sister told me about. I forget the lady's name. Maybe it's good because I don't. You know, because she changed her life. But she was a big. I'm using this terminology. That's what he's very feminist. I think it was on the Donahue show. I mean, she was big. She was just talking about women need to do this by themselves. They don't need men. They don't need white women. But women need blah 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 blah. And one day she showed up on Donahue. She started talking about families, and she said, "Yes, and my fiance, or so and so." He looked in the crowd, and it was a guy. The crowd went, the women went bananas. Like, what? You gave us all this history, and we don't need a guy. And she just quietly flipped, like, maybe I believed that, but one time, but like, it's not working.
And ain't that like the devil? That's just like the devil, right? What did the devil say? Give me respite. Give me some time.
Right.
He knew that he was still in, that was even in submission. That's a strange, you have to understand that. He was still asking to submit to Allah as he go and turn everybody else to disobey Allah. That's the way of the devil, man.
Right.
Allah.
Yeah, whispers and then breaks out. You know, they see a difference. They don't tell anybody. Like you said,
right.
So yeah, that's definitely, like you said, definitely the, you know, and even I know somebody said, well, I think it was Dr. Umar that mentioned, he said, no, the breakup of the family didn't start in the 1970s when they took the women out of the homes. And I said, no, because even though the father was there in slavery, like I remember Muhammad said, it's an unnatural reality. How am I doing manly work and my wife's doing manly work? But at the same time, I'm home. Yes, I'm home. But the slave master can rape me. We forgot about that too. Or my wife. So I'm home, but I'm not the man of the house. She's not the woman in the house. So it was broken down then. We tried to hear it.
And I'll go even, you know, they're bringing those statistics, but it goes even further back to the whole Adam and Eve deal. That Eve, it was her fault, and the apple and all of that. That was they put that in their scripture, right? And all of that again is to break down the family and to turn the male against the female, man against the woman. All of that, you know, that proceeds way back. Now, you know, in the 1970, yeah, it might have been on TV or in a magazine, but they've been, you know, we know because it's in Quran, right? Because it's in the Bible, way back. You know, that's the devil's. So the reconstruction of the family, and again, I want to commend you all for this topic. That's what we have to be focused on. Anybody know, you know, listen to Imam Rashad, my brother, the assistant imam at the Atlanta Masjid, you all know that has been one of our, it is and will continue to be our focus of developing family. And again, because it's from the imam, you don't got no community if you don't have no families, right? So we have to continue to develop and build up our families, but we have to, as Muslims, particularly African-American Muslims, we can't drink the Kool-Aid, man, and the poison of this modern philosophies and crap that they're feeding us to turn our minds off and to turn our minds away from the guidance that we know is right of having strong families, being strong men, being strong women, and natural men and natural women and all of that. We have to continue. You know, I did want to say this because and the Imam alluded to it in that quote where he said, because we've been doing so excellent, Allah continues. So it's not all is not lost. All is not lost, you know, but we have to make sure that we're holding on to what is not lost, or it can be all lost, particularly as hard as the devil is coming at humans and natural people in this day and time.
Yes, sir. And matter of fact, one of the, because this kind of gets I hope I don't put you on the spot. Well, I won't put you on the spot because you talked about it before anyway.
It's all right. Put me on the spot. We got it's 2:00 on Saturday. We got to give them something exciting to listen to.
One of the main things, like you said, we know that the scheme of Satan focuses on the weakest link of the human family, which is us, obviously, and because, like you said, whether people want to accept it or not, we are the chosen ones because of what happened to us. But we're chosen to do what? Be the model example. People, and the model example starts with ourselves first. We want us to be the model example for everybody before we come with ourselves. But anyway, so one of the lines we've been hearing is, like you said, men and women, the natural roles. So which, most people think it's equal. Can we be equal? No, we're equal human creations, but our jobs are different. So there's that. I don't know if you saw, sometimes they have like these things on YouTube where it says, if my husband buys the dinner, I leave the tip. If he does that, I do this. We work together. Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice, but that 50-50 reality where it sounds nice because us as a group, as a people, we've been broken apart. So the women, a lot of them are realizing, the corporate situation and how they make more money, and the men aren't getting that chance in the white man's corporation. So they're trying to equal it out. Well, if you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I do that. What do you see as, or do you see it even in the Muslim community as that reality? That those, I'm not going to say the women that, or the men that have the problem, the ones that are trying to be more conscious and supportive of each other. Do you still see a unconscious weakening of our roles? Meaning the husband still kind of, there's a way for the wife not to have to work. He sees it, but it's like, yeah, but she's doing that. She wants to help me. Do we see like I don't want to say like well, I'll just say it that way. Do we see like among the conscious ones that want to help out still having a weakening of the roles or responsibility each of us is supposed to have? Like somebody, I'm letting you off because I know it's hard. I'm letting you off because I know it's hard. Instead of saying it's hard, but just I'm putting that out there.
Absolutely. And let me just say, all that stuff is trash. All of those ideas that are being brought into society are trash, of equality and all. No, we ain't equal. And that's okay that we're not equal. Why is that okay? Because what does Allah say? That He has given one something that He didn't give the other, right? He has given one some strength that He didn't give the other some strength. And that has been interpreted to be how the woman can give birth. I can't do that. That's what do you call that? That puts her above me. I can't create no human being in my body, right? And though my physical strength may be stronger, that I can lift up a big rock, that's what He has given me more than her. That's the natural reality. And so we don't have to be equal. The problem is with crazy white folks, I hope I don't get y'all flagged on the thing, is that they weren't respecting that value that their women had, right? They weren't respecting that was a preference that God gave their women over their men. So now we need to be equal to our men. Get out of here and don't ever come back. That's crap, right? So this is that's part of the answer. And then in the reality of the weakening, absolutely, and that's part of the devil thing. Make all the men homosexuals, right? Make all the women lesbians, or I won't say that word because that's butch. I'll use that one. There's another word that starts with a D that has an even different connotation, to where you are putting yourself in man form. So you saying that you want to be a man, and the man that dresses up like the girl, you saying that you want to be a woman. You don't understand that you're being taken out of your form, but you're also unconsciously saying that you see the value in this individual by trying to be him. You see how crazy that psychology is? But the undermining of the role is that's part of my children like to show everybody hates Chris, and Chris Rock all day long. That's our guy. But that husband on there, they put him as this old weak, and he's second guessing and questioning with the episodes that I saw. all of that. And I don't know if that's Chris. I wouldn't blame Chris Rock for that. And there are other shows that we see that they always undermine the husband, always undermine the dad in his role, right? And everybody's against the husband and the dad. That's part of the devil's plan. And as far as the blessing that we have, or the strategy that we have to implement, is how the Imam explained the term helpmate, right? That was given in some translations in Quran, is that if we're a couple, we're a team, right? And I'm helping you and you're helping me, but the goal is to help this unit and develop this unit. Never can it be the woman leading the family in the natural society. And sisters, y'all can exclamation point and everything y'all want to. I know what I'm talking about here. That's not the natural order. The natural order is that man leading and her supporting him next to him. She don't even have to be behind him. Now, can I get my exclamations taken away, sister? She don't even have to be behind him. She can be next to him, but she's supporting him as the leader, right? That's the natural order. And he's helping her develop in her position to be the leader in her role, and what Allah has given her more than he has given him in developing the family structure. But there definitely is that system of undermining both, particularly the man, particularly the husband, particularly the father. That's like all day long, and we have to fight that tooth and nail. Ain't nothing wrong with my wife making money. What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with my wife having no job. What's wrong with that? But I understand that that's for her to have a comfortable life and whatever she wants to do, and her supporting the family with that finance. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what she chooses to do. And us as a couple have that conversation. That's the other part of the problem. People don't know. Hey man, just have a conversation. Hey, I'm gonna need a little bit of that money. And most natural women ain't got no problem with that, because they understand that they're building that. If she got that white man's mind that tells her, and she twists the my wealth is my wealth and all, you twist that turnip until it ain't no more juice in it. Yeah, that's true. But we know we live in a society that a one income home is going to be very difficult to sustain, right? But the blessing is most of our women don't, alhamdulillah, most of them don't have all of that white man's brain and don't have no problem with contributing and working together, but understand that it shouldn't be a matter of, well, I'm helping you, so I'm holding this over your head, and you ain't no real man because, and all of that. That's helping the system of undermining the man and undermining the husband, which is all part of the plot to destroy the family, the black family. I hope that was in line with what you were asking.
Excellent. Yeah, right on point. Right on point. Matter of fact, there's I'm going to express this a little longer. I told people this. It stayed in my head. It's fixed in my head. I think it was like maybe 15 years ago. I was watching a TV show. It was a news, regular news, a regular channel. And they were talking about, this was during the time where, again, focusing on the African-American people, us, our women, go out and work. You know, you need help. Work the big corporate jobs, And it was a show that was dedicated, that said double family CEOs, being the wife and the husband were like making six figures by themselves. And they had just one couple, and they were saying, well, there's a big trend now, only showing white people, Caucasians, of the woman staying home with the kids and the husband going to work. I'm looking at it because the commentator's like, what did you just say? So they showed this lady, she was in her backyard, was looked like Central Park, and she's sitting there with the kids in the swings, and one kid in the lap, the other one was playing in the background. The reporter's talking to her. She said, so you mean you had a so-and-so CEO of this company, your husband, and you just stopped? She said, yes. I said, why? He said, well, because my kids, my children, we had a conversation about taking care of the children. They need us more than us to be outside. So the reporter's question was, well, what about the finance? Who's going to take care? She said, he'll take care of it. Next question.
Right.
It's not, listen, he'll take care of it.
That's not a big deal. Right.
He knew, like, yeah, I don't have, like you said, because again, his mind wasn't damaged to that degree. That's what, and that you know, it's again slavery. That's one problem. Caucasians thought that they're okay and we're not. You
Right.
know, you think you are God, we think we are under God,
Right.
like at the bottom. But you know, we have to get back to where it's supposed to be. But bottom line is, the way she said it was like, he'll take care of it. Next question. There wasn't even a question. When it comes to us, the focus is on, like you said, you know, she makes more money, so you got to help me. Like you said, if you had the conversation, the natural conversation of, again, knowing where we're supposed to be. I have a degree over you degree over me. We're not equal. In that sense, we're equal creations, but we have different roles, and they're just roles. I'm going to end with this and jump somewhere else because maybe a little bit people may not like this. Well, you won't like. Well, our people won't like this, but this every part of the culture, like I said, they try to damage the family, especially our family, even down to the movies, superhero movies. Now, people may not want to admit this, but this is what I saw. With the black, and I'm not laughing because I'm not saying, oh, I got them. Black Panther is a great movie. I like the Black Panther. But if you put the Black Panther, the movie, against, I'm just going to pick Winter Soldier, with Captain America, which I think is the best Marvel movie, but that's me. I'm a comic fan. You will see them, no matter how bad it gets for the white world, they keep their men, and they will let everyone else go under.
Right.
Look at the Black, I'm just going to use the Black Panther. I have to, because that was one of the biggest sales, and I'm glad it uplifted us and gave us spirit, and it brought back our confidence and things like that, and people make more comics out of more black characters. Excellent. But if you study how they had him, he's supposed to be the king of Wakanda. He has an impervious suit made of vibranium. In the comics, the way Jack Kirby created him, he's one of the smartest superheroes. It's him, Reed Richards, Tony Stark, somebody else. But he's on that level. But when it comes to the movie, and no disrespect, Cherie, his younger sister, is smarter than he is. They didn't say it, but they just showed it. Mm-hmm. Who's his bodyguards? Women. There's never a time you show that. Never. I'm the king and I got women guarding me. Oh, there's certain tribes in Africa. I know that. But why am I showing that as the king? That's two. He's always needed saving in the movie. I forgot his the head general. She saved him when he jumped down to save Nakia. Nakia told him he was going to kill the wrong person. They were just showing, him as like, you're a king, but you're not really in charge. And the final one, when they're in the casino, and Claw runs out and they're chasing him. They literally say the two women run out first, and one of them says, "What about the king?" He says, "Oh, who can take care of himself?" I thought you were guarding the king. So they're telling you, like, yeah. But in Captain America, the Black Widow, excellent character, any woman in the movie is shown he's the man. She can take care of herself, but whenever Cap is around, she's a little girl. Just look at it. She's a little girl. He's always saving her. There's a scene, and I'll end with this. There's a scene where they commandeered a truck, and she has her feet up on the dashboard, and she's talking to him. She said, "Well, does Steve Rogers steal truck?" She said, "Well, we're going to give the truck back." And they're going back and forth, and he says, "And take your foot off the dashboard." And she smiles and pulls her feet up the dashboard, like, "Oh, wow, this is a real man." He just took her foot off the dashboard, and she's an assassin. But they're subtly showing you, the man said, "Take your foot off the dashboard."
Hey, listen, because if it does make them uncomfortable, that's good, because that agitation is what you need in the washing machine when you're washing the clothes to get the dirt out, right? Yes, so that uncomfortability may only be because I have the mind of that stuff that needs to be agitated out of it. You can go all the way back to Superman. I don't know nothing about that other stuff that you just winter solstice and all. I don't know nothing about that. I know about Superman, right? And it shows that white man would save that woman, and the big gorilla would come, which represented the black man, right? And he's saving her every time. So in this conversation of and you all know me, my teaching is solution based and application based, right? So after this, what can we apply? And so this point that you're making right here, Brother Hakeem, Imam Hakeem, in that we have to, in the Reconstruction, is understanding and respecting these roles. The man is the head of the household. The man is the leader of the household. And if my wife is making money, that don't change that. That don't change the fact that I'm still the leader. That don't change the fact, and I'll use this example. Now, again, I don't want to make my father uncomfortable because he's sitting right there. My mother was the principal of Claire Mohammed and the director and a teacher, and she had another job that she went to, and as they explained it to me, because she wanted some more money. Claire Mohammed wasn't paying no money, so that was part of the problem, right? Because she had to do something. But it was clear in my house, my father was the leader. My father was in charge. He was the director. And if anybody knows my mother, and she had a master's degree like he had, led an organization like he did, but she still made sure that we as children, that was ingrained in our brain, that he's the leader. And so we as a community, we as a people, we have to get back to that. That's like the beginning. If we can't get that and understanding our natural rules, sister, that women's liberation trash, like Sister Coral said, that ain't your fight. Y'all ain't got that problem. We respect y'all and lift y'all up anyway, because we need you. And we understand, okay, we understand, is that better? We understand the need of having the natural family. So we can't accept that poison and that lie that's coming from that European mind. That's not us. We don't have that. We have to get back to understanding the natural rule of man leading, husband leading, father leading, woman supporting in that leadership. And that doesn't diminish her. You know, that's part of that lie, but it means that she's second class. No, it don't. That means that you're in the natural order of things. And I lift her up when she needs to be lifted up, and she lifts me up when I need to be lifted up, and we work together in developing community life and family life.
That's right. Yes, sir. Exactly. Like I said, and that's the key. Words make people, except buzzwords. If you support and not lead, you are second. If you're not this, they tell the women that. My sister was reminding me of a while ago. She said, if you think about it, thought about it. Like Imam Mohammed said, the heart is symbolic of the woman, the brain symbolic of the man. The heart makes requisition to the brain to go out and do the work. But if the brain gets no requisition, what does he do? And she was explaining about how these hotels and buildings look, and the hotel rooms and the beds. He said, is that for men? Put a mat on the floor and I go to sleep. We don't care.
Right.
It's women. That's not even, I don't say that's a man's mind. Like Allah says, beautify the garden.
Mm-hmm.
More than just that, but I mean, first the garden within ourselves. But all these decorations and the way the buildings are structured and the cityscape, majority of that came from my ladies got to be comfortable. The women come, right. Kids have to be comfortable. They have to be excited about. They love to see beautiful, quick, nice things. And then you start to appreciate when they're appreciating it. Like you said, if the home, which they think is a bad, women stuck at home and that's so okay. If you force women to stay home, yes, but if you come home from fighting the elements and it's pleasant, that is a great task. Did you know how to do that?
Mm-hmm.
If you think, that's not a big deal. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see another guy beautify a house. Another guy. You got a problem. I can make the house look good.
That's a whole other conversation. A whole other show.
Come on, man. But it's like cars. All these things are designed with a feminine sensitivity for that. Yes. So because they like the way it looks, they like the design. It's pleasant. If the more colors reflects, and when they become more comfortable, they make you more comfortable. And I'm just getting from what I'm listening to, as you're saying, and other lectures, like you said. That's not my role to do that. To think of that stuff. You tell me, okay, well, how's this? And if they go, wow, this is, then I hit the nail on the head. But
you go order it on Amazon and let them put it together, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you guys will work. But, so it's like your strength comes in, like it says, men's strength. It comes in being courageous and honest, and like you said, if I need help, I need help. You know, don't, like you said, don't try to be the might. I can take off. If you can't, you can't. They see you how strong you can be. You see how strong they can be. Like you said, you see, you know, if the children becoming too much, there's the limit. That time, help out. They see, oh, he's working too. I'll help out. But after you equal it out, let them go back to what they're supposed to do. Like you said, the reconstruction of understanding the roles makes it easier for us to get together, but also makes it harder for Satan to come, because now, like you said, I know my role. I know this. It's not supposed to be, you know, this. And like I told to Carl, somebody said, you know, the young kids have been taught the opposite. The women do this for you. The women do that for you. The women do this for you. They buy you this. They buy you that. You don't buy them anything. You don't do anything for them. You know, you just show up with the clothes that they give you. Come on, bro. That, you know, that isn't it brings down your dignity. And among other people in other communities, it brings down your dignity. Yes, sir.
You know, you said about the kids. I feel so bad for this generation, fear for them, in that the sophistication of the devil's plan today, right? You know, you just think of the cell phone. You know, you remember we had to go all the way home to get on the computer and hope you had some dial up and listen to that fax machine noise to get some crazy stuff, access to some crazy stuff, right? These kids, 1 second, right? And they got it in their pocket all day long. So we have to be conscious of that as well. And that's one thing that I love my parents for, is they were very purposeful in what they put in us, of ensuring that we had a conscious mind and knowledge of self and all of that. We as a generation have to up it even more with this generation of young folks, because they have so many more attacks coming at them from Satan and his minions, you know.
Yes, sir. You're correct. You're correct. Matter of fact, my brother just reminded me, because you mentioned in the beginning a little, touched on it, spirituality. What did you see, or do you see as you know what? I'm gonna get the question directly, because I'm looking at right. Without, because again, we're not trying to put down Black nationalism. What do you see would suffice our people in al-Islam, I'll put it that way, that Black nationalism can't sustain? I'll put it that way. Yeah. What do you see in al-Islam that Black nationalism either tried to do or wants to do but can't do it? And the al-Islam does the whole thing for us, makes us whole as a people.
Beautiful. And I appreciate the way that you formed the question. And as we know, the Imam gave us deen and our religion as a way of life, right? And I think often we would say complete way of life, right? Would you agree? And nationalism is incomplete, right? It only focuses on one particular aspect of the individual. It only focuses on one particular aspect of the human being, when al-Islam is the complete package. Al-Islam is the complete picture. And so what nationalism falls short of is not complete, right? Again, yeah, we ain't putting down nationalism, because it's up you mighty people in Black power all day long in my house, and it's going to continue to be that, right? RBG all day long. But it also falls short when it makes that God, right? Now, here's the problem. Now I'm serving my ethnicity. And just like the letter people have made their sexual preference their God. Insanity. It's insane to make my sexual preference. What does Allah say? Have you not seen those who make their desires their God? Your desires, this is how you want to have intercourse. Now this is your whole life, and every bill and everything. Everything is about that. That don't work. And so nationalism, in the same vein, when everything is about my nationality, everything is about my race, everything, that can't be everything, right? When al-Islam, it because it is a complete way of life, it has room in there. What did the Prophet say? And what did the prophet encourage for people to have? Knowledge of their lineage, right? That was a big thing in the sunnah of the prophet, for you not to sort of give up on your lineage. And same, and even above that, Quran, that you can't cut your family ties. You can't remove yourself from. And so if you understand that on a higher level, that's your nationality, that's your ethnicity, that's your people, that's your tribe. You can't cut yourself from that. So that's in al-Islam. So it falls short in only focusing on that one particular aspect of the individual and not the complete aspect of the individual. And then when it lifts that above Allah, lift that above God and service to God and makes that my entire focus. Come on, that could be my focus on Wednesday when we go have our meeting to develop healthy knowledge of self, right? But on Thursday, I'm gonna have to learn economics, and on Friday, I'm gonna have to learn a theology, right? And so that can't just be the whole package. It has to be balanced. And again, that's what al-Islam gives. So in that al-Islam, or it's gonna be al-Islam, because al-Islam has a place for me to have a healthy knowledge of self and me to have a proud position of my race and my ethnicity and my tribe and my history all day long. We just don't know our religion, that we, and I'm not saying us, you know what I'm saying when I mean that we think that that's something outside of al-Islam and that's something outside of our religion, which was the blessing of our Imam. You know, I like to remind people, just the Imam didn't stop being the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? That foundation of healthy Black nationalism, if I could use that term, sober Black nationalism, that didn't just go away. No, but now he had Quran to form it and to shape it into how it should actually be practiced. But he was still the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was the one who gave us Black and Proud, who was the one who gave us Am I Black Enough for You? Who was the one, you know, those musicians and those songs, they'll tell you that was their impetus for those messages. The Imam just, and even, you know, you might not like this, but no, you know, what am I going to say? The concept of New Africa, that was shared by other groups, right? You know that. I'm not going to say you don't like that, but the New Africa Revolutionary People's Party, I think, was the particular name of the group. That language was around. Again, the Imam just connected it to Quran, connected it to the life of the prophet, and put it as it should be seen, and not just everything is about my ethnicity and about my race. So it falls short in that it doesn't give you that whole package, and it lifts something above Allah, and which, you know, we know is shirk. We can't do that, you know, and I'm saying shirk in the broad sense of the term, as I'm sure you understand and our listeners understand.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're getting close. We have 15 minutes left because we're going to close out at 3:30 today. As we mentioned earlier, the Imam has another engagement, so we're not going to go to 4 o'clock. So we're going to close at 3:30. But I would have mentioned without, well, I'll use one of some people's names, Dr. Umar and some others, not in a bad light, but their big push, because I was telling my brother, when he's on giving solutions to or explaining what happened to us, like systematically in the system, schools, education, on point. I only have a class when he starts, like you said, start to talk about himself in a way that doesn't help himself. You know, if you stuck to that, but that's another story. But him and others, why do you think that there's a push for them to down religion and focus on Africa as it being, this isn't attacking Africa, but I'm just saying how they present it, as Muslims, how we see it, they're presenting it. The religion was bad. Everything we had in Africa was great. If you went back to that and got rid of religion, we'd be all right. Why do you think that is? Or do you think that's a conscious thing? Think it was given to them? Or do you think they actually believe it? Or why do you think they actually speak of it that way?
It's a form of shirk. What do I mean? Shirk is not only associating partners with Allah, but it's also giving devotion that is due to Allah, right? And so the shirk is, I am giving devotion to myself, right, man, that is due to God. So that's part of the problem. But the other thing is, when you're not really ready to submit, right? Religion, I gotta submit. I gotta do what God says. I gotta do what Allah says. I gotta do as the prophet exemplified, right? That's religion. I don't have to do that when it's just all black, 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 right? I can do what I want to do because that's the religion. Religion is black. And so I have this freedom to not have the discipline that's required. And that's when he gets himself in trouble, talking about smashing cookies and all that other stuff, right? You don't have that. If anybody knows that reference, that one was hilarious. They don't have the discipline that's required in religion. And so take religion out, make religion the boogeyman. The opiate of the people is religion. That's crap. The opiate of the people is listening to you, taken away from God, right? And so what I see is that that's a cop-out. I can be a very religious and faithful person and still fight for my people and still uplift my people, as our Imam was and as other great leaders were, our Imam being one of the best, if not the best example of that. It's a cop-out, you know, and I won't have to be disciplined and follow no order. And there's, you know, knowing that I have that law above me that comes with religion, I can just do what I want to do. That's what I observe in that particular group, you know.
Sure.
And just this one lady, it's like the Black Panthers, right? They could use drugs and go be with white women and you know what I'm saying and all that. I couldn't do that in the nation, right? I had to have this restrictive laws, right? I had to follow these restrictive laws that were put upon me. So no, I can't do that. And so let me lie and say it was because they said that, you know, the black man was God or whatever, or you hear those people that start making the excuses of why they never joined the nation. That's because you was a punk and you didn't want to be disciplined and follow the order that was necessary to be a Muslim and follow God. So you stayed over there with the party people. You know, that's what I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Can't argue with that. Can't argue, like you said, and that is one of the main things. Like I said, the discipline of it. Maybe Imam Mohammed was explaining about one of the verses in Quran where he talked about also explaining the verses also pleasing and well pleased, come back to your guardian Lord. And he said you have to be excited or happy about what the religion tells you to do. You know, I never thought about that. You know, yeah, I'm doing it, but are you excited about it? Are you happy doing it? And until you are, it's like, you know, you really just go through the motions. So like you said, yes, I believe the discipline part is one of the hardest parts. I guess we'll end with this one as we're getting closer to the time.
We didn't have any questions, Hakeem?
Oh, I said, yeah. Usually we put them up. Mujahideen, is anybody? I saw statements, but I didn't see any questions.
Mujahideen is over there making them delicious new freedom pies. I need him to mail me some to Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a statement. One of our problems as Black women is that we have taken on white women's problems with her men, and the fact that we look at celebrities, white people, as being what conscious white people do, when it's not. That's from my sister Belita. Yeah, one of our problems as Black women is that we have taken on the white women's problem with her.
Yeah, and Muslim, it's the Muslim thing too, with the whole unmasked and you know, women. We don't have them problems in our masjids, man. For the most part, we don't have them problems. If the people, you know, if they follow an Imam, we don't have the problem. Maybe if they follow somebody else, they do. But yeah, your sister Belita is right on it, right? That we're taking on them people's mind and we're taking on them people's problems, and that destroys us because we're putting a burden on us that's not even our burden. She hitting the nail on the head with that one. As she always does.
Oh, this one's from your wife, so I got to read this one. When both husband and wife are working, we must cultivate balance for each other. It's a statement. Are there each other when both are facing the challenges of society and be a garden for each other. Let me read that again.
I was about to say, let me see if she messing with me. That might be some older statement, but that was okay. That was a good one.
When both husband and wife are working, we must cultivate balance for each other. When both are facing the challenges of society and be a garden for each other. Yes. Yes. These most
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Yes, sir. Like I said, to find, and that's the hard, like you said, the struggle is to find the balance of not overstepping each other's roles, even though we want to help. You know, we have to know the balance of where do you stop at. And that's a good point about what she just brought up. Do you see a push? I'll put it that way. For when we see the problems with African American families, particularly the husband and wife, us marrying each other. Do you see a push in the Muslim community as well as the African American community as it being labeled as racist or something wrong when we tell somebody or make a point, my choice is to marry my own first. Period, really. But I'm just, I'm just trying to be a little bit PC sometimes. But my choice is to marry my own. And even when you're Muslim, my choice is to marry my own because it's natural. Like I'm not going to add on to it. But do you see a spirit in Muslim African Americans and African Americans when that becomes a issue that they say, "Oh, that sounds racist," and we're open for everybody?
It's an issue if they're uneducated to the religion. What do I mean? Our religion tells us what? Like mates for like mates, right? Now, in that particular ayah, it's giving specifically about people who have, in a way, defiled themselves, or that's not the best word, defiled themselves, who have entered into relationships prior to being married. That person is going to be equally yoked for another person that has done that same thing. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Similarly, when you look into the fiqh books, into the legal text, jurisprudence books, I'm talking about the fancy Arabic ones that we studied in the university. It suggests and we know this, you done taught this marriage and stuff, that you look for a person that has some similarities to you, right? I can't be. Well, let's just leave it there. And that's clear. Some similarities to you. So when we get to ethnicity, that's one of those things. And why? Because part of the purpose of a marriage is to be in peace, right? What does it say? He is the one who gave you mates so that you dwell in tranquility with them, right? So I go get me a Azerbaijanian. You can go look that up. Azerbaijan is a place. And I bring her to the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam, she's going to be uncomfortable, right? Because everybody looking at this white woman and trying to figure out who is this white woman in the masjid, right? So me and even thinking about her, right? I'm going to put her in it because we uncivilized people and we're going to be racist and harassing the sister, making her feel bad and telling her she don't know how to cook green beans and whiting and all that stuff. And so, I think that that's a problem that we need to fix. If we think that it's a problem with me marrying my own people, that's my people, right? That's part of the thing. And so, for a person who doesn't understand, or for a person who believes that it's a problem for me choosing from my own ethnicity, that's just because you gotta come up a little bit. And now I'm gonna get even more controversial. I can have more than one wife, right? No, that's just to throw a little spice in there to get you show some more rating. But no, you should. You absolutely should. And I'm saying this, whatever. You absolutely should start in looking in your own race, in your own, it's going to be easier for you. It's going to be easier for her. And you all are, you the same people. You have the same. I was talking to a brother the other day, because I'm going to go and even go one more, Imam Hakeem, about marrying people of other faith groups. Let's go to that one, right? Now, Quran is clear with that for the man and the woman. Let's make that clear. Because brothers just want to think and they say, well, I can marry. The Quran encourages the Muslim man and the Muslim woman to marry the believer and the Muslim first. And what does it say? It says it to both the man and the woman. Even if that other one, even if that other one mesmerizes you, it's better for you to marry a believing slave. It says that to the man and the woman. And so, similarly, you should look within your own faith. You should look within your own faith, and you should look within your own group. And a person who sees that as a problem probably got a little bit of Charlie's brain going around in their brain, if you know what that means. Mr. Charlie, to be more precise.
Yeah, I mean, it is a symptom of post-traumatic slave syndrome, as I like to quote Dr. Joy DeGruy, you know, that we have to deal with. I mean, the last question is from your wife, so I can't pretend it didn't exist. And stretch a little longer. What is your advice?
You all right? We got time, Hakeem. We're not in no rush.
What is your advice for raising our young children to have a healthy relationship with themselves and their people without being racist or against other groups of people? What is your advice for raising our young children to have a healthy relationship with themselves and their people, meaning African American, without being racist or against other groups of people? Before you answer that, I just want to it reminds me of something that is out there amongst African American people. We're always saying we want to move into an integrated neighborhood so that our children can be universal. And that's their idea of it. But when we look at all these other ethnic communities, Chinatown, Italy, little towns, they're universal, and it's 90% them in their own town. Why do we have to move into a neighborhood where everybody is to be universal and they don't?
Because we think white folks ice cream tastes more like vanilla than ours do, and that's only because we want to be white and we want to be white folks. That's why we want to do that. And to answer Sister Shahina's question, how is by first letting them know that it's not racist to have a healthy relationship with myself and my life. That's not racist. That's natural human beings. That's the natural order of a human, for me to love myself, for me to love my people, right? First, because that's me and that's my people. How do I ensure that it's not against somebody else? Is again by part of, you know, when it's the against thing, most of the time is because it comes from a place of insecurity, right? Right. I got to put them down and lift me up. If I'm secure and comfortable in myself and my own knowledge of self, I don't have no problem with that Chinese man being Chinese. I think, you know, if we go back to, you know, some of the more controversial things about the first resurrection, when they would have meetings with the white supremacists, right? And the understanding was you support building your people just like I do, right? And that's good. And I'm supporting you. We can work together in that because we both want our own people to be uplifted, right? Racism will never work and will never be a good thing because that's the devil. That's Shaitan, right? Who was the first racist? Iblis, right? That I'm better than him. So that never works. So we have to ensure that our children understand it ain't about me necessarily being better. I'm not less, right? That they understand that I'm not less and that I have, and I don't even want to say equal value because then that's that old you looking up at them when you may not need to be doing that. But I have a value in, so I'll use equal value, but I don't want you to, I want you to see that in a broader sense, in that Allah has given me and my people, my ethnicity and my nationality, something of excellence that I should be proud of and love. And that has to be instilled and developed in our children, just as he's given other people. But I want to make sure that I'm valuing mine first. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. How do I know it's wrong? Nothing wrong with that. He is the one who put you in tribes and nations, lita'arafu, right? And one of the interpretations of that arafa, of that knowing, is knowing your own tribe first, is knowing your own nation first. In before you go out and learn the other one, he wants you to learn your own, right? That's one understanding of that particular ayah. And he wouldn't have even told you that if he didn't want you to come to know your own self and your own people, and like that, inshallah. Inshallah, that answered her question.
Yes, sir.
She'll tell me in about 10 minutes if it
did. Okay, my sister has
no rush, Imam Hakeem, no rush.
Okay. Can
you remember I said I wanted the questions more than me rambling anyway.
Oh, that's all right. It's not rambling. Hey, I'm coming up with questions as I'm thinking about them. Can you clear up something for me, Imam Sulaimaan? It is only Muslim. Okay, this is the question a lot of people ask. Is it only Muslim men who can marry non-Muslims, meaning Christians? Because I have heard mixed answers. Basically, you've probably heard the question before. Basically,
I know exactly what she's talking about, and so I'm gonna get even more controversial with you. And sisters, just know this: if they watching, if you come to me with a non-Muslim man, I won't perform your marriage as any man. I'm gonna give you an answer that won't hurt your feelings, and give you to some other imam, but I don't do it. Why? Because the Christians of today are mushriks. The average Christian of today is a person who associates partners with Allah. And the ayah doesn't say that he can marry. It says that he can marry a believer. He can't marry a mushrik. And so the ayah that I just gave before, when he tells the Muslim woman and the Muslim man, is that you cannot marry a person who associates partners with Allah. That's not permissible for the man or the woman. And so that woman that come in there cute with her perm and her eyelashes and gonna take you to Mount Zion Baptist Church on Sunday, and they're gonna say that Jesus is my way and Jesus is my light, is a mushrik. Your feelings might be hurt, brother, but that's what it is. And so to answer her question, that's misogynistic interpretation of religion. And what's the other one? Not misogynistic, it's another one. Mansplaining, whatever, when he says that the man can marry. No, he can't, and no, he shouldn't. And don't bring me the Copt Christian, because if you study the Coptic Christians that the prophet married, Miriam, she wasn't no Baptist. She wasn't no First Episcopalian, whatever, like these modern day Christians. That was something completely different. Then people wasn't saying Jesus was God. And so, yeah, that might be, make some people uncomfortable, but that's good, because when we educate ourselves and learn a little something, that's better. So no, brother, and it's the same thing for the brother. I say that for the sister, my particular policy. And now the cat is out of the bag, because some people probably watch it and say, well, that's why he didn't perform my marriage. Because I don't believe that that's allowed. And I believe that it's better for us, and what Allah encourages and what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged is for us to marry Muslims, one, believers, two. Believer is not a mushrik. And so there are some people of other faiths. And so now, Sister Valida, I'm broadening it to the man and the woman, because that's another issue, that if that's okay, I know your question was specific, because we always just put it on the woman, but the brother needs this explanation too, right? You need this explanation too. The There are some Christians and who today who are not mushriks, who are not people who associate partners with Allah, who do not believe that Jesus is God, right? Alayhi salatu wasalam, who do not believe that Prophet Isa is God, right? And so we can talk about that, and there may be some little room with that. But the average Christian today, man and woman, is a mushrik, and that's what Quran specifically says is not permissible for the man and the woman. It's better for you to marry a believing slave. And I actually think it's Muslim. I don't have the ayah in front of me, so don't quote me on that one. I know it says believers, believing slave, meaning a person who's a captive, who may not even be able to provide for her. And she may not even have some freedoms that a free woman have. It's better for you to marry her than to marry that mushrik man or that mushrik woman, even if they mesmerize you with their eyelashes and Uggs or whatever else they wearing these days to get the brother to be over there at the church. I put more weight on the brothers for going and not staying within our community, little community, big community, and going and talking to that girl at FedEx or wherever you work, and then you show up at the Masjid with this girl, and you trying to. I'm rambling now, but that's all right because this is a very good point. And she gonna take shahada because of you, and that thing is gonna fall apart because she's not Muslim and he's not Muslim, and that's gonna affect your deen like that. So answer your question specifically before we go find the ayah that I'm referencing, which is the proof of what I'm saying. That what Allah encourages for the man and the woman is that it's Muslim. It's not just the Muslim man who can consider believing women. But now we get to the of who's the leader and all of that, which is why there's a little bit more restrictions. I use that word. There's nothing wrong with that for the sister, because the man is going to be the leader. She understands that. We don't need to go into that whole explanation. I hope that shed some light on her question.
Yes, sir. I understood. I mean, inshallah, I did, and everyone else that's listening also hope that shed more light. And it's also something as a community or people, individuals, we should look at ourselves and study why that's being said, or even if you're thinking about that on your own, to look at it, to have that reality outside of the natural reality, like you said, for someone outside of your whatever situation is, and not for specifically one of your own. So it's 3:39.
Let's take all the rest of the questions. We good.
Okay, we got it. So, does anyone have any more questions
or complaints? You got to take the complaints too, because I know somebody didn't like that.
Questions.
Complaints for me, not for you.
Okay. This is a statement of Sister Ruby Ali. Allah made us all. We are a test for one another. That's just a statement.
We'll go for that, Sister Ruby. That worked.
Well, yes, sir. And I guess again, like you said, we have to know the difference between, like you said, the Satan's plan, and even in looking at what you just said about people that aren't Muslims, people who believe in more one God. We also have to make sure we're not saying they're bad people or evil people. We just
absolutely.
We have to say that, because with us, we just go off the far end. We just let them know, that, like you said, as far as compatibility. I remember, you mentioned when you get home, as husband and wife, you have to be comfortable with each other. Like you said, you got a specific. I'm just going to use this and go to the next question. Like you said, you had a specific lifestyle before you became a Muslim, or you were Muslim, you just had that different lifestyle, and you married someone that never had that. Now you get that lifestyle is going to be there. If it's strange to you, it's not going to be comfortable to you. He doesn't have to be a bad person. She's going to be a bad person.
And that relationship is going to fall apart. And why even put yourself through that? Right? I was advising a friend of mine the day before yesterday. We're giving him some marriage advice, and he's considering, two different sisters. He doesn't mind me sharing this because y'all don't know who he is. One of them is a Muslim, one of them is a Christian. I said, man, that's a no-brainer, bro. You know, even if the sister is a new practitioner of al-Islam, that's better than the one that's not practicing al-Islam at all, and your life is going to be terrible because I got to explain stinja. Come on, man. I'm 40-something years old. I ain't got no time to be explaining that. I don't have no time to be explaining why you can't put that Christmas tree in the prayer room of your house. You know, that's the nicest room in the house, so that's the way she gonna put the Christmas tree, right? You can't do that. We can't put that Jesus picture on the wall. That ain't gonna work. And who has time? And then and then go the other way for the sisters. Yeah, he told you were pretty and he got money and you know, all of that, and y'all was having fun at the jazz concert and all that. But you're gonna have to use the word submit without using your feminine mind. You're gonna have to lend some submission to your husband, which may be something against your faith. And he might want you to not submit to something in your faith. It can happen. You can't say it's not going to happen. And then now your back is up against the wall, selecting between your Dean and Jimmy, right? Or brothers selecting between your Dean and Juanita, right? And come on now, it's too late in the game. We done been through 2 coronas, Y2K, and everything else. For me to just because I need love and companionship, that I'm gonna go through all of that, it's not worth it. That I know that may not sound as caring as I could have said that, but you have to think about yourself. You have to think about your own individual self, and putting yourself in that position is probably going to wind up being more uncomfortable. But no, we're not saying that they're bad people. They're bad if they associate partners with Allah. That portion of themselves is bad. That portion of themselves is bad. But just in general, no, they're wonderful people. And we would pray that that particular part of themselves can be developed. But that's not an issue. I also don't believe in people just convert for marriage. And you know, I'm ready to cat out of the bag for people that come and say, we going to convert before the wedding. Come on now. That ain't going to work. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you know, that's just me as a spiritual care provider, as an imam, because I'm thinking about you, and that's we've seen the track record of that. It usually doesn't work out, and the Muslim, for some strange reason, oftentimes do more bending than the other person. Yeah, the person may convert it, and mashallah, they may, you know, wind up being a very excellent practitioner of al-Islam. But you know, come on now.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Oops, it disappeared. Well, actually, I remember what it said. It's directed at you. It said, "Would but I think you already do this already. Would the Imam consider doing dawah to non-Muslims regarding marriage?" But I think you already do that. So I mean, it's not. I don't think that you're starting class. I think it's just. I guess this is just asking. Would you be open to consider to do that? But I think you already do that.
Absolutely.
Here it goes. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry." She said, "Counseling, which constitutes more than just a fly." But yeah, she said, "Would the Imam be open to giving counseling to individuals about marriage counseling to individuals?"
She said, "Do I consider me getting some counseling?"
No.
I'm joking. I know she didn't say that. Yes, and this is not the subject, but it's opening up the subject. That's a requirement for myself to perform a wedding, to perform a marriage. You have to do premarital counseling. You have to do a minimum of 3 sessions. And so why? Because it helps. I mean, it's just valuable. You know, it helps that couple work out some of them kinks, and having that non-biased third party listening to them lying to each other, the game that they've been running on each other the whole time, to be in love. You know what I'm saying? that non-biased third party may be able to hear through some of that, not lying to each other, but it helps. So absolutely, I do require that. We require that. And so again, just to unpack that statement of I don't perform those marriages like that, it's particularly because most of the time the person associates partners with Allah. It's not just because they're Christian, quote unquote. It's because the form of Christianity that they practice is shirk. And that's clear in Quran that we can't do that. And I can't be the one who facilitates this woman going into a shirk thing. And I can't be the one who facilitates this brother. I want to be clear. Both ain't just the sisters. Don't we have to raise above that with just putting it all on the sisters. It's both, brothers. We shouldn't facilitate that. And so absolutely premarital counseling is absolutely a valuable thing. We should all consider it. If that answers your question, Sister Anissa.
Oh, I guess it did. I guess she reply. I think I had one more question to ask. I think them, yeah, so far, I think there's no. Oh,
here we go.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam Sulaimaan. Thank you for just a statement. Thank you for your commentary. May you clarify what a mushrik, not sure of the spelling, is? What's the difference between that person and a believer? Sister Makeda.
Yes. A mushrik is one who gives devotion to something other than Allah that is due to Allah. That's one answer. What does shirk mean? Sharaka, to combine, to join together, is what that word means. And so the devotion that's due to Allah, they mix it with something else. So the devotion that's due to Allah, the Father, they mix it with the Son, right? They mix it with Isa, alayhi salatu wasalam. They mix it with Jesus. That's shirk. A person who prays to something other than God. The person who prays in the name of something other than the name of Allah, other than the name of Allah. All of those are forms of shirk. And the modern practice of black folks Christianity today, and I mean, this ain't no down on this, that's the way they gave it to us, right? And they know to put our people down. We didn't study Orthodox Christianity that has Allah and that has a concept of Tawheed. We got Jesus is my rock, and I'm going to meet my Jesus, right? That's what we got, right? And so it ain't necessarily their fault. Now the mu'min, the believer, is the one, or the mu'mina, female believer, is the one who believes that there is no God but God. La ilaha illallah. The believer is the one who believes Mohammed Rasulullah. Muhammad is a messenger of Allah, right? Because we believe in the other messengers too. So the believer believes that there is one God. The believer believes in Tawheed. The believer believes in Muhammad Rasulullah. So now you say, well, if he believes in that, then I can marry him, right? So tell the man, this should not contradict what I just said. Tell him to, or tell her, yes, declare your shahada and start practicing your expression that you was following Jesus as it is expressed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Because they were teaching the same thing. They were practicing and following the same God and leading to the same mannerism. And then they will be not only a mu'min, but they'll also be a Muslim. They'll believer, and then they'll also be submitting their will to the manner in which that is supposed to be submitted in within faith. But the mushrik, any type of giving that devotion and that association that's due to Allah to something other than that, and man, that could be, and that, let's get even more controversial, that could be the ancestors, right? That could be the Orisha, that could be the Owanga, whatever. Let me not be disrespectful, but it could be any of those things. It's not just Isa. It could be any of those things that they give that devotion that's due to Allah, and you're calling upon these things when you should be calling upon Allah. That's shirk. And so none of that is acceptable. And 98% of the way religion is practiced outside of Islam today got some of that in it, and we got to just work on that. So back to Sister Anissa's question, let's work on this little aspect here, this little shirk thing, and get you to, you know, but again, you're not converting because you want to marry me and I can't marry you unless you Muslim. That's bogus. That's no good. That's not the basis in which I should be entering faith, right? Even before entering into this relationship, I shouldn't be basing my faith practice on me being in a relationship with you, because when one falters, the other one is going to falter most of the time. When I became a Muslim because of you, when we break up, what do I need to keep being a Muslim for? I was just doing this because of you, right? Or the other way around. If I'm, you know, but I think that's clear. And I think I got some good complaints in the meantime. What did they say? What was them? It was a whole lot of blips that came up on that one.
Well, I'm trying to mix and go back and go forward. Okay. I'll mention this question and I'll go back to this question because this probably would help out this question. A statement. Can I ask you, does Allah say about Muslims who marry people who are not of a doctrine religion but believe in God? Can I ask you what does Allah say about Muslims who marry people who are not of a, like, basically they have no religion but they say they believe in God? I'm not asking because of some individuals I know and who are, I'm asking because of some individuals I know and who her husband became a Muslim. It basically, I guess, it's saying the statement, you know, let people make. I don't believe in structured religion, but I believe in higher authority, or I believe there's a God. What does the Quran say anything about Muslims marrying those people? That says, okay, I'm not a Christian, not a Jew, not a so, but I believe in a God. Does the Quran address that? Is what the question is. And I think I'm going to tie the question that came before that. Who are considered believers other than Muslims? This might even tie together. Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you what I say first about the person who says that I believe in God, but I don't follow structured religion. That's malarkey. Get out of town, man. What does that even mean? I don't follow structured religion because man made, you know, kick rocks, right? And I know that, again, that wasn't her. I'm not saying you kick rocks. Sometimes that mentality, this is what I say about that particular thing. Because you believe in God, that's theology. That's religion. Come on now. To some in the reality of creation, you're going to have to follow. No, you're going to have to adopt. Let me not use the word follow. You're going to have to adopt some system, some methodology of engaging with God, of engaging in ritual practice of engaging God, spiritual practice of engaging God, which is exemplified by whom? His prophets and his messengers, which is compiled where? Within scripture, right? And so you following a religion, right? And even that, I don't think she's talking about the atheist or the what's the other ones? The other people who say they don't believe in God, agnostic. Not talking about those particular people, because you know they're trying to deny the existence of God, and that denial actually affirms if they actually understood it or not. I don't think she's talking about that. But so that's my particular response. Now, what do we have from Quran? If a person says that they believe in God, they're a believer, right? The first part of belief is belief in an ilah, is the belief in a God, right? So you all right, brother? Let's start there. Now, let's learn a little bit more about God by familiarizing myself with the people who are most familiar with him, which is who? Again, his prophets and his messengers. And now you're getting closer to, so I can't give you, I apologize, I can't give you a specific ayah like right now off the top of my head, or hadith or nothing like that. But what we do have, you know, if the Quran is, you know, one thing comes to mind, but it's a negative. You ask them who created the heavens and the earth, and they say Allah, right? You know that group, but then they try and deny everything else, right? You all know the ayah that I'm giving a picture of. It speaks about these people. They ask you, so they recognize, they'll acknowledge Allah, they'll acknowledge God as being the creator and everything else, but they don't want to submit. And again, all that's that cop-out stuff. You want to be lazy, and you don't want to be disciplined and put yourself in a system. That's a cop-out thing, man. And half the time, so let me back up too. A lot of it is based on traumatic experiences, right? That we have to acknowledge and recognize. Somebody had a traumatic experience with religion, suffered some type of trauma at the hands of a religious spiritual care provider or something like that. So they detach themselves from church, detach themselves from the masjid because of that. And so I'm saying I'm detaching myself from religion, but in fact, they're detaching themselves from that traumatic experience that came at the hands of the person who was supposedly the religious teacher, if that makes sense. So again, I can't give you a specific ayah other than that one that goes into the negative sense, but reconstructing family. So let's connect this, because these are all good questions and they're connected, right, to this, because that's what we're talking about. We have to reconnect ourselves with Allah, reconnect ourselves with his prophets and his messengers and his scripture for us to have the healthy family. And the challenges that we have with people who even have that type of mind, most of the time is because of some problem that I have seen, even with the sexual. Again, I don't want to go back into that boat. But the people that have the challenges with their gender identities is because of some traumatic experience that we as a community, we can't just look over that and deny that that's a reality that they've experienced and why they're going through that. And then we could help develop that reality and try and have that healing to have them be a practitioner of religion. I hope that. And then what's the other part? Who are the believers?
Right.
Who are the believers?
Right. Who would be considered to be believers, as well as we are. Normally, we hear Muslims. Does Allah? I put my words too. Does Allah address anyone else in the Quran as believers besides Muslims?
Yes. Yes.
That's what.
So to answer your question, yes. But he also, most of the time, when we're reading mu'min and mu'mina in Quran, you're talking about a Muslim. What's the proof of that? Inna alladhina amanu wa nasara wa sabiina. Right? What does he say? Those who believe, the believers. This is how it's translated, Yusuf Ali translation. Wa nasara, and the Christians and the Sabians, right? And those who believe in the last day. I think that particular ayah says. So it's distinguishing between these faith groups. You with me? So it actually is giving a distinction. I don't know what that echo is. I'm sorry. It's distinguishing between Christians. It's distinguishing between Sabians. It's distinguishing between groups. But the mu'min and the mu'mina, 9 times out of 10, when you're reading that in Quran, it's talking about Muslims. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, oh you who believe in what? La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, right? So that's one part of the answer. Are there Christian believers? Absolutely. Quran mentions them. There are those who, it says it, right? In the Jews, likewise in Quran, it says that they believe. And what is it that they believe in? That there is no God but God, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a messenger of Allah. Those people in the linguistic sense, if I can get even more technical with us, right? Hope y'all don't mind. Y'all know my, educational thing. We can go both ways. Or no, we can dive a little bit deeper, and we know linguistics. That's our Imam educated us based on linguistics. Linguistically, when those people believe in Allah, that there is no God but the one God, and they believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a prophet and a messenger, yes, linguistically, they are considered believers. Now, are they a believer as the Muslim sense, because those two are going to go together? That's going to lead me to submitting and now starting to pray and doing all this stuff as was exemplified in the prophet? No, that's the legal definition. Shar'an, that's the legal definition of the believer. right? The linguistic definition, they believe. So they count. But the juristic definition, they're going to have to do some of this other stuff that gets them on that other side, if that makes sense. But absolutely, and let's go even a little bit more black with it. Ain't your grandmama a believer? Right? Ain't 99% of our black aunties and grandmamas, they would be considered believers because they believe in God, and they believe in Allah, and they believe in Mohammed, and they know when you come, they ain't gonna put no hog in them greens or at the Thanksgiving and all that, because they believe and they have that sense of belief. And so those people too would be in that category of what would be considered believers, and Allah knows best. I'll put that part on there too. On the end, Allah knows best. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hold on. Okay, I'm off. Yes, alhamdulillah. Thank you. All praise due to Allah again. Thank you, Imam. We're at the mark, right on time. Well, 2 minutes over.
Alhamdulillah, we made it anyway after all of that.
Yes, sir. Very good statements. Very good questions. Again, like I said, this is recorded, so it's on YouTube also. We thank you all for whoever asked any questions, whoever's presented any post. We thank again Mujahideen, Brother Bilal, Sister Marsha for creating New Freedom Exchange to have us to have a platform on to invite honorable and distinguished guests such as our Imam Sulaimaan, Hamid, and others. Before I forget, because we have to close out. The last, I said I was going to give us the topic for our next talk on at the end of July. Our next topic on the end of July will be, it might change a little, but this is the topic: the recitation of Al-Quran. The recitation of Al-Quran is also revelation. A talk on the importance of reciting the Quran correctly. And we have as our presenter, Imam Hatim Hamidullah out of Florida. He will be the Imam who is, if you've not heard him, he will also be reciting certain surahs so that you can hear. And I'll just put it out there. This is for me. You will be able to hear our sound, how we recite Quran, our sound specifically. Everyone has a specific sound depending upon their specific environment upbringing, but we'll get to that when it comes. That's the last Saturday in July. I think it's the 31st. I'm not sure, but it's the last Saturday in July. We'll have the flyers up later on. But again, we'd like to thank the listening audience, thank the facilitators, and thank the presenter. And we'd like to thank Imam Sulaimaan's father for being there and giving the information. And alhamdulillah, thank you for the questions again. Peace be upon you all. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Now, in concluding this, when the slave traders and the black traders of Africa, traitors, different, traitors, when the slave traders and the traitors of Africa called themselves Muslims, were fighting each other and carrying on and weakening their people over there so that the white traders come in there and get us, take us on slave ships and bring us here. Now, all right? Yeah. So now, when all that happened, what you think was happening to our human soul? Let me tell you, God has given me an eye to see into the very abstract form of the human being by my study of the Quran. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you what was happening. I know, as if I was there. The soul of those victims had given up on this world. They knew they were going to their death. They knew they were going to circumstances that were going to finish them off. They would never have their lives again. They knew that. But in their soul, they were saying, our children will one day be free again, and they will serve God. We have failed, but our children will one day serve God. And now their prayer that they prayed in the deep recesses of their soul has come true. And not only are the descendants of the black people of Africa from Islam coming to Islam, taking up the divine cause, but those who never were Muslims, their children from Christianity, their children from Judaism, their children from paganism are embracing Islam in America. And we are going to build New Africa. New Africa, right here in the United States. Allahu Akbar. Don't work against us becoming Muslims if that's our choice. America is land of the free and home of the brave. And damn it, I'm brave and I'm free. And you can't take it away from me. I'm going to have freedom of choice. I choose Islam. I choose Quran. I choose Mohammed. I choose this religion for myself. And as long as my children are under my supervision and not of age to make their own decision, I am choosing Islam for all of my children. As long as my wife will like me, will love me, and she doesn't have to love me, as long as she respects me. I choose Islam for my wife. And that's my responsibility. And I hope you all feel the same way. Thank God we are free at last. We are free at last. You're not free when you're just free from physical bondage. You're not free until your mind is free and your human spirit is free. Your human spirit will take you where God wants you to go. And if you got that human spirit that will follow what God wants, your mind will be blessed by God to know how to get your body there. To get your body there. We're tired of being spooks in America or anywhere else. We are no spooks. We have a human body like everybody else. Don't tell me to accept God, immigrant Muslim from Pakistan and from Egypt and other places. Don't come over here and give me a life of Muslim ritualism. I had enough ritualism. I feel the genes in the, of my foreparents. They are in me. And I have a distaste for too much ritualism. I want reality. I want reality, and I want a place in this world. I want to obey God, and I want to get my share of this material world. Don't give me a spirit and tell me I can't have a body. God didn't give me a spirit and tell me I can't have a body. God gave me a spirit, and he gave me a material body to house my spirit. Now give me a material environment to house my mind and my spirit that is African American. We want to see New Africa. We want to see New Africa Islamic theaters. We want to see skyscrapers go up, and we build them. We want to see shipping lines and trucking lines and transportation lines all over in our neighborhood. We want to walk outside our house, and we want to look at the products and the construction and the industry of our own people, Muslim African Americans in New Africa, on these shores. On these shores. That's our rightful inheritance as the creation of God. God has created us for this. That's our natural inheritance. And we will accept nothing less. Nothing less. They have Spanish Town. They have Chinatown. Damn it, get ready for African American town, Muslim New Africa. And I won't say it. I know you've been waiting for it. You've been waiting for me to say it. We cannot be stopped now. They're going after the wrong thing, as we have gone after the wrong thing after we got equal opportunity in this country and laws passed to protect our citizenship and our rights of citizenship. We started celebrating, having a good time, playing, laughing, dancing, getting high, and we forgot what God has done for us over all these many generations. God has permitted us to be used and abused more than any other soul of a human being. God has permitted that soul of the African people, African American people, or the African people, to be used and abused. But the God that permits that is obligated to do justice by everything. So in the measure that he has allowed us to be deprived, he must award us, and at least that measure or greater. So when we look at the sad history, as those sad turns of events in our life, beginning with the first one, putting us upon slave ships and bringing us here to be slaves as property of others, and following that at the terrible events in our life, when we look at those events and see the damage to our psyche, the damage to our life as human beings, and really the threat to our future as human beings, when we see that and realize that we have overcome that, we're still here, we're still human, and we're still performing very excellent way, men and women, that says to us that God has not yet finished rewarding us. God is not through with us. Freedom and equal opportunity here, that's just the necessary situation or the necessary condition for us to begin doing what God has formed us for. And I say formed us. We are no more Africans like the Africans of the continent of the motherland of Africa. We are a new people. We have a new mind. We have a new spirit. We have new sensitivities as a people. We have a brand new ethos as a race. So we are different. We are different. We are different in the abstract picture, and we are different in the physical picture. We are not abstractly the same. That is, our mentality is different, spirit different, sensitivity is different, aspirations different, humor different. We are not Africans anymore of the motherland. We are Africans of this land. New Africans. New Africans.